Hi everyone in the Singapore office. If you would like to come to the town hall area to join us for the demo evening, please come over now. Guys in the back office tech side, can you hear me? If you can hear me, please come over. Please bring your friends. I think there are some people in the Carousell offices globally joining us on Zoom. Welcome. Please give us a few more minutes to get settled here. Actually, can you help me get that? I sent Vipul already. I sent Vipul to get them. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm going to call her first. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the Singapore office, Carousell office. For those who are visitors here, so our friends who have signed up on the Luma link for our demo night, welcome. I think there are about 6 of you here today. Thank you for making the time to come and meet with us. There is a fun fact about Xavier, who actually, Brendan and I just spoke to Xavier yesterday, and he was in Pier. Xavier is over here. Brendan and I spoke to him yesterday at what time? I think around lunchtime. He was in Pier, which is north of the northern part of Thailand. And we told him, oh, we have this demo night thing, evening thing. Would you like to come? And so he took a 2-hour bus to the airport, a 3-hour flight to Bangkok, 9-hour layover, and then a flight from Bangkok to Singapore just to be with us today. So please join us, join me in welcoming him. Yeah, so that's Xavier. So how we normally run these is, over here at Carousell, we have a residency program. And the residency program will see the residents doing a show and tell every Thursday as a form of accountability and to show us what they're building. We also would take the opportunity to have other guests like Carousell folks ourselves, friends come and demo and, basically learn from each other. Today, we have opened it to the public to sign up on the Luma link. So over here, we have some folks who will introduce themselves later. They will be in the second half of the demos. So without further ado, I'm going to start this session with the Carousell residents demos. It will be a 5-minute demo. There will be a bell that Marissa will ring at the back. And then there'll be, thank you, Marissa. And then there'll be a 1-minute Q&A. Okay, so let's try to keep to time as much as possible so we don't overrun by too much. All right, we'll start with the first demo from Wilson from the residency.
Okay, testing. Okay, hey guys, I'm Wilson. So, I've been building a bunch of random apps so far, but I guess for the time being and for this cohort, this is what I want to share and focus on, I guess. So, to put it simply, it's a mobile app that fixes your bedtime. At least for me, this has been a real big problem for almost a year now. I'm always doom scrolling late at night and feeling the pain and effects the next morning. And no matter what I do, it's always like a continuous cycle and a continuous problem. So I'm like, okay, this is a problem that I would really just want to fix for myself. And I really want to test it in terms of like a hard paywall app and being able to test like social media conversions and App Store, organic App Store, ASO, and all that jazz. So, it took the entire first cohort, like cohort 0, for the app to get reviewed and published into the App Store. It took like 4 rejections, like taking 1 week each. So I can finally push this now. And I want to share a few learnings. So for one is that, okay, let me share. Is that I initially, although like from purely organic App Store optimization, I've gotten a decent amount of impressions. And I guess just to share the flow, it's literally being able to have a set of screenshots and automatically translating them and each App Store listing into over like 30 different languages at once. So I have these screenshots here, and through like a workflow with Cloud Code and like App Store CLI, it's automatically translated, automatically optimized. Like even the screenshots themselves, the text is translated into all these different languages. So organically, in terms of like impressions and sort of product page views, it jumped because I had this app like just sitting dead, and it jumped to like just 100 impressions a day on the App Store, like without even any social media type of posts. Obviously now, I recognize, especially from talking to other people in the cohort, social media is a big lever, especially for these consumer B2C apps, right? But so for example, let's say for making carousels on like TikTok and Instagram. To be honest, I'm not a designer, right? I don't really have any idea how, like what font looks good or how to make the carousels look nice. So I just have this vibe coded out website. So for example, let's say I have an inspiration carousel here. This random carousel got 100K likes on some random topic. And then I want to be able to copy and paste the format for my own sleep-related content, right? So for here, I just built out this thing where it's like, okay, let me just sort of import my own images, and then it will automatically copy paste the text feel, like the rough, whether it's serif, the size, and the formatting, so that I can adopt the same designs and just edit it for my own content. So I don't really have any excuses not to spam content, right? I guess that's the whole idea now, is being able to just try out a bunch of random organic content, see what works, and then being able to track the conversions over time. And hopefully, I'll be able to share all the different experimentations along the way, see what works, see what fails. Also want to try, all those AI UGC or whatever nonsense, try other forms of just spamming this app basically in the worst way possible. But yeah, that's basically it for me. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, any questions?
You said you were rejected from the App Store multiple times. Can you mention like the reasons why?
Yeah, I think the App Store is really non-deterministic in the terms of like, they'll just reject you for random reasons sometimes. I think a few of the reasons I had was for example, like complaints about like UI UX. But for example, this is an iOS app, but the App Store reviewers are reviewing it using an iPad sometimes. So it's like some things is just you really can't predict or you can't fix. Sometimes, like obviously in the App Store, there's a bunch of different listings, and then sometimes they'll pick out one specific format, like when you sign in, you should have a sign in with Apple. Like if you have sign in with Google, you need to have sign in with Apple, for example. You can't just have sign in with Google, then you get rejected for that. So it was a bunch of random reasons. To be honest, like even though let's say you can find online common reasons to get rejected, you try and match all of those, take all of those off, there will still always be random reasons popping up. But yeah.
Oh, yep. Just one more question.
Have you considered using like React Native so that you can push to iOS, Android, and websites at the same time?
Wait, sorry, can you say that again?
Have you considered using React Native or like a framework that allows you to push to multiple platforms?
Yeah, that's a great question. To be honest, I just focused on Swift, at least from stuff I've read, and may or may not be true. It seemed like in terms of for testing a hard paywall app, it just seems like the willingness to pay for iOS users is generally higher across most of the world in terms of just converting for a paying user. And at least for me, I felt that controlling the UI UX for the onboarding, which is essentially the most important part for this type of app, it just felt a lot more smoother to do it in Swift rather than trying to compromise for both Android and iOS. But yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Wilson. Can we get Daryl to go next? Yeah. Okay, so both Wilson, Daryl, and Ace, whom you will see today, are returning residents from Cohort 0. I understand there was some confusion in the past. Cohort 0 was the pilot, which ran for 4 weeks, and now we have started Cohort 1. Okay, Ace, can you go next? So is it just Ace or the whole team as well?
Okay, hi guys. I am really happy to be back, and I'm here with my team today. So this is Jovan, our engineer, and Rachel and Chloe are there. So a simple blurb of what we're doing for people where we have not met before. Essentially, we are building a talent platform connecting students to opportunities and SMEs and startups to early talent that they hire. We started out primarily because I'm a student, he's a student, and we were like, holy shit, it's so hard to find a job, and we have to apply everywhere. It's really tedious. There's no sort of way for us to get matched to actual quality jobs for early career. And we started by building that, and sometime like 2-3 weeks ago, I had a firm come to me and ask me, hey, can you help us recruit for talent? And I was like, actually, we don't have that built. But we built it in like 2 to 3 days, and now we also help B2B recruit, essentially with an AI agent recruiter, as well as a human recruiter layer to do first round screenings for them. So a couple of updates about what we've been doing. So number one, we launched Eve, our AI recruiter. Number two, we launched a portfolio builder system. So to help students build beyond their resume, we want to help them show proof of work. I think it's really common in like design or tech to have like a portfolio website, but for people in like maybe marketing, comms, etc., not so common because they're non-technical. We wanted to help them build that with no code. I'll be showing you guys what it looks like later. And we also expanded from B2C to B2B in a sense. In other news, some other updates, we got into Harvard Street Commons. It's an accelerator in Boston, so we'll be in Boston from early July. Really looking forward to spend time with everyone till then. And we also landed our first two B2B clients, and now we're in collaboration with Glints, a Series D job platform in Singapore, to bring more enterprise clients onto Sub. And on that as well, we are going free for B2C users because we essentially realized that velocity and distribution is our moat. The main problem with other job platforms that we're seeing is that they have lots of employers listing, but no one actually applying. And if we know one thing really well, it's distributing to the young audience. We've gone through LinkedIn, we've gone through social media, and that's what we realized we know. So that's what we want to focus on. So this is the portfolio website. Essentially, what I can do is upload my resume or fill out my profile, and then it's a no-code tool to help me build something. So this looks really ugly. Let me change it to a different theme. And you guys can see that with a simple few prompts, it essentially helps me automatically build that out. Generating code. Jovan, do you want to explain how this works technically?
I mean, it's a very easy feature, I feel. Basically, how this all works is all through your profile information. So we want you to upload your profile information from like career, experience, to projects, to certificates. And all these basically are put through the AI with a bunch of prompts, and they're all put into this. Once the AI generates the code, it's all into this sandbox where you will render your website here.
So essentially what else we also wanted to do was to be the single source of truth for students' career-related or experience-related matters. So essentially they come back to Sub again and again, every single time they've done a new project, a new module, something they're proud of. And with that, we're able to hyper-personalize the sort of jobs that we find for them. So one common thing that we heard is, let's say they go on LinkedIn, a lot of jobs actually require like 2 to 3 years experience. It's not something that's actually fit for early career. Instead, we can now filter and look at what the JD says in terms of skills. We match it to skills on their resume. And like you can see here, I have a match score on each of these jobs. I can filter by not only categories, but also things like whether I'm early, late, experienced, etc. And then from here, I can also generate a match summary so that I know where to prioritize my efforts. So I can look at my strengths, gaps, etc. on this as well. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, I think that's all we have to share. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions?
So you mentioned you have now several clients. I'm curious to know how you found those clients. Did you reach out or they reached out to you?
Yeah, so they actually reached out to us. Like, we never had a B2B layer before one of them reached out to us. And then they like asked if we do it, and we didn't do it, but then we told them, yes, we do it, and then we started doing it. Essentially, I would say what was really useful for us was to be really tapped into the like Singaporean startup ecosystem, because we're targeting startups and SMEs that are trying to hire their first few like new joiners. We're not really targeting big corporations. So it really helped that like I as a founder just went around a lot to like different things. Actually, the firm that contacted us knew me from Codex's hack night, one of the first hack nights in Singapore. Yeah, so it helped that I just like went up and demos up and then like tell them what it does. And, yeah.
Gotcha. And then my second question is, you use AI to help students find jobs.
Yeah.
Basically, I see like companies are also using AI to like sift through AI work. How do you fight against these companies using AI?
So we're trying to reverse engineer their AI system. We know that companies are using AI to scan like ATS of like resumes and stuff. So we're essentially trying to like work that backwards and see, so what words are they looking for, what format, what structure, and then how do we help you incorporate that into this? Yeah.
But even then, like the work you produce is still AI produced, AI slop, if you will. Like companies are now detecting like, oh, which one is like AI slop, which was
Yeah.
automated.
So usually how companies detect this AI slop is either in the linguistics of it or the fact that simply the AI just like hallucinates and like pull things out of nowhere and then it's not a coherent resume. The way we go around this is we have a painfully stringent onboarding system where they dump in everything that they have, and what we do from there is to basically extract and then reshuffle that. So we're not really AI generating huge chunks of text, we're just helping them optimize what they already have. And then let's say I have 10 experiences, I can only fit 5 on my resume, which 5 should be going on, etc. So that's how we try to make it a bit less slop and a bit more legitimate. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Daryl's the first to clap. Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you so much, Ace.
Thank you.
And Proven.
Daryl's just very excited.
Yeah. Daryl, you're next.
Hi, I'm just in a particularly good mood because it's my first time wearing contacts and I'm seeing stuff really clearly right now. Life is good. So, okay, I just want to present what I've experimented with. This week, Yong Chen, who unfortunately is busy today, he introduced me to codecs and his automations, and I just thought, how can I use that immediately in my life? So first thing I did was obviously, because I sell stuff on Carousell, right? I would like to message all of my clients on updates or anything of the sort. And I have a lot of chats. And I really don't want to have to manually copy and paste over and over and over to every single person because that's such a waste of time. So I wasted even more time learning how to do this automation thing so that I can save time. So let me show you some of the results of that. So as you can see, at 2 in the morning, I messaged everyone saying, hi, I have some new inventory, hi, I have some new inventory, on and on and on and on for like 100-ish chats. Please don't ban me. And I can show you it live right now as a small demo. So these are the people that I've segmented that I haven't replied. I want to reply, but for the sake of this demo, let me show you how it's gonna go. So I'll just say, create a draft. After you create the draft, I look at it. If I approve it, yeah, sure, send. And the problem with this automation thing is, right, at the first initial stage, it's really dumb because it has no idea what it's doing and it has to take screenshots every single time. So it consumes a lot of credits. But after it's done the task at hand, you can make it remember and have it as a skill or an automation or some sort of thing that makes it use significantly lesser tokens, and you can just repeat the process forever. So initial part really difficult, but when you continue on, it's really, really simple and fast. What's this? Yeah. Okay, I'm hoping this works. Sometimes it's a little slow, but I'm open to taking any questions while this thing is moving, because it is a little slow. Yes. I will answer you privately. I'll prefer. I'm choosing my words very carefully right now. Oh, we can see it live right now. Okay, so on Depster Webster, see, it says it on its own. And next chat with AT1QAH 2026. And then with Tommy to me, got it, I'll check and get back to you, send. Yeah. And this is the whole entire automation thing that I ran at 2 in the morning just now. I'll probably forget these 6 clients. I'm not gonna really reply them, but you get the idea, right? Like the automation thing that these AI tools are using it is quite awesome, and I am really excited to see what they're gonna come up with next. Thank you, guys.
Questions? Questions?
I'm a bit confused. Why didn't you personalize the messages?
Oh, it's for the sake of this demo. Wait, personalized messages as in?
Yeah, like respond to each person differently instead of just one message for everyone.
Oh, it is kind of personalized to a certain extent, because this guy, the Zheng Gei, the first guy, he obviously doesn't want to buy. So I said, no worries. Next guy is got it, I'll check and let you know. And this is just for the sake of the demo and testing that this thing actually works. So, I mean, I will experiment with it and have it a bit more personalized in the future.
Any other questions? Okay, yeah, thank you, Daryl. Mabel? Mabel, you ready? Okay, next up we have Mabel. Mabel is new to the residency program, so it's our first time taking a look at what she's building.
All right. All right. So hi, I'm Mabel, and I'm actually the founder of Mybel, and I'm building agentic wellness support that feels like a trusted companion. So basically, okay, how many of you have had like New Year resolutions that have repetitively been surfacing every single year, and then you still don't manage to accomplish it? Okay, thanks for the honesty. So this is something that's very common, and you know, most of the time, like resolutions are given up on like by February, right? And the average retention is actually 3.5% for most fitness apps, because like you can get the health and training data, but acting on it is a whole different issue. And this actually comes from my personal experience. I used to be 118 kilos, and then I lost 45 kilos through like holistic, like healthy habits. And then I lived the problem, then I coached it. I started my coaching business, and I spent 5+ years, and I built a community of women specifically because I realized that this was a gap in the market. There was a niche where women really needed help that considered their emotional and mental loads, but this wasn't provided for. So then this is what I'm currently building now, and I'm focusing a lot on the emotional user experience and behavior design. So basically, this is what I'm building. It's a companion who helps women follow through. So my first persona is actually an oppa companion. So he checks in, he remembers what matters, he starts a conversation. Every day he checks in based off like your own preferences. He checks in uniquely according to how you have spoken to him. He has like a memory architecture system that has long-term, short-term memory. He detects your emotional state, and all these are used to create a very personalized outreach. And he guides you on the one next step forward. So you look at like the demo, right? It kind of looks like this. Like the flow would be the women would get like a check-in message in the morning, and then they would kind of share about their problems, and they can even check in to share about their food, what they have taken in for the day, and everyone would have the context to be able to give them more healthy habits. And we're looking towards other features in the future. So how did I know that this was something that was taking up? I have about 100 users across 4 different iterations of Evren, and then they are from all over Southeast Asia. I've worked with I've onboarded women from Singapore, Philippines, actually my top users, and then from Indonesia, India, and these are actually some of the responses they've given. They share it with their friends, their power users who do fan art, and they feel really supported. And I have women tell me they want to see more of his photos, so they'll clock like steps. They'll do things like eat healthier, they'll move more just so that they can continue the story with him. right? So basically what I wanted to share today was a little bit more about who I am and why I was building this and my entire agentic system, both for the product and my ops system. So you look at this, a lot of times people tell me, they think like I'm building just an LLM wrapper, but actually what's underneath it is an orchestration layer, and there are so many different things that I take into consideration. We have to look at routing towards specific agents, we look at context assembly, specialist flows for the different coaching agents, and then I also have memory governance, we look at the data runtime, etc., right? So I just wanted to share this because I think this is something that most people actually don't realize how much effort it takes to have an emotionally intelligent behavioral system that serves as a companion for users. And this is actually my agentic team. So I would like to introduce you to, I am the founder and CEO, and I'm the one doing most of the grunt work every single day. I have a junior contributor. She's currently in school, and she's a part-time contributor, but all she works on is evaluation ops. And I also have 2 autonomous agents, employees. So my first employee on the left is Dobby. If you can see, Dobby is an ops analyst built on OpenClaw. And what I wanted him to help me do was to look at the observability layer, which is runtime truth, which means like whether or not users are facing any behavioral issues, like he will flag it out. If I need him to do some investigation and apply reasoning, he's able to do it for me autonomously, but then with very scoped boundaries. He's a little bit naughty. He's not as obedient as Herbie, whom I just onboarded yesterday. So I'm gonna give Herbie a bit more like autonomous like reign to do marketing and to just do research and report back to me, because I wanna do my launch campaign soon, and this is what Herbie will be taking on. And yeah, and so far she has been much more like effective. And if you look under here, these are all the tools. The tool stacks that I believe are actually the instruments which we as humans, we own the judgment. We have our agents work on bounded loops. Some of them are more autonomous than others. Some of them are more for coding, like Codex or Cloud Code. But I believe like the next step is really to look towards like building a human like AI collaboration team for like AI native startups. So that's what I'm passionate about, and I'm experimenting a lot. So over the next 12 weeks, you can just briefly look through this. This is something that I use to track to keep myself accountable. So I actually have, I have so many different threads, so many different issues, but what I realize, issues in terms of linear task issues that I track. So the reason why I have this is because I'm here as the first cohort, because I would love to keep accountable for like what I commit for my own startup. So this is my priority roadmap. I'm currently like working towards like the payment system, because I know that there's like a pull from the users. I'm working on a memory system that can serve the entire like organization between humans and also my AI agents. Like context management is the next biggest thing. I think because so many things are moving so quickly, so much data is actually produced every single moment, like being able to review it quickly and to ensure that everyone has like access to it, be it agents or humans, is something that's super important, right? And then, yeah, I'm also looking at my growth and distribution, and then a future like experience layer that moves beyond my Telegram MVP. So yes, thank you for having me. I think that's all I wanted to share today.
Any questions for Mabel?
Nice presentation. But what about the other half of the population?
Oh, that's such a good question. Now, you know,
I'm sick of talking to real women, you know?
I thought you'd be sick of talking to the NSFW. You know, like how many NSFW pieces of content there are for men? Like, I think generally, if you look at the App Store, right, there are so many companions, it's mostly for men. And I realized, like, that's why I wanted to build this. You know, when I started talking about Oppa, you know what the first thing the male users will ask me? They'll ask me, huh, you mean he just looks like this? Like, just like a face? This is enough? Like, nothing else? And
I mean,
said,
I want
yeah.
to look like that.
You want to look like that?
Yeah.
Sure, feel free to. Actually, no, I'm not opening up to men. So it's only for women, I'm sorry, because the user flows have to be like catered to male, like female perspectives. So yeah, currently, no, maybe in the future, if I have a separate lane, maybe exclusively. But I think male motivation is very different from female motivation. Yeah, so women, I tell you, the women are, okay, fun fact, most interesting photos that get them back are just literally like his hands, collarbones, like I can show you, literally it's like the most simplistic thing. Like, it's really funny. Okay, I don't know if I can show you this, but if you want to take a look at it, it's really funny because people often like overestimate. I would say, like they expect it to be super, you know, like highly like visual, but it's not really the case. So I mean, I don't know if I can show you this, but okay, maybe next time I'll show it to you because it's very hard
We
to
can
show.
discuss privately.
Sure. So yeah, but anyway, generally the photos, and then they will do things like, they really like, is it something like this? Like, oh, here, over here, can you see? Oh, no, you can't Yeah. Okay, so if you take a look at this, right, it's literally just his hands. I know you cannot see, it's a screen grab from my actual screen. It's just his hands cooking eggs. But you have no idea how many women came to me and say, oh my God, he sent me a picture of like his breakfast and, you know, I'm motivated to eat well. Like, and then I also have ASMR voice notes. So they asked him for more ASMR voice notes. If you want to hear it, you can come and let me know. I created like a Korean oppa sounding ASMR voice note from 11 Labs. And I would be happy to talk about the distribution strategy because I already thought about my AI UGC, which is like this oppa who has like a channel, like he's cooking like stuff for women and saying like, oh, you need a break. And then if they want to talk to him, they can just click on my link and go to the app. And then they can chat with the oppa. Yeah, so that's my UGC strategy. Maybe you could try it and I would like to see what you think about it.
You are better at being a guy. Oh, sorry, you are better at being a boyfriend than guys.
That's what the women say, which is why I think this will really take off. Because if you're a guy and you're building for women, it's very hard. You know, like one of the earliest inspirations I got, right, when I was doing research, there was this product called Burn Your Fat With Me. And then it was built by like a few male developers in Japan, and they were like obviously very good developers. But then, you know, when I looked through the screen grabs, the women was posting on Reddit, they say, I feel so depressed, like he's telling me I'm so lazy, I'm useless, I'm so fat, and then they say they feel so sad, and this is the insulting method they use to motivate them. And then it's because a lot of times, like if you are not the ideal user, it's very hard for you to put yourself in the shoes of ideal users. And I think there's a gap in the market where a lot of developers are actually male. The tech industry, like, I think like 1 in 10 is like female, right? So I really hope to have more female developers, which is why also my team is going to be AI native and mostly women, because I need engineers who are able to understand the user's perspective as we're building together, and it actually cuts the kind of translation loop. Yeah. So that's the reason why I'm building it as an AI native female startup. So yes. Thank you.
Thank you,
Other
Mabel.
questions?
Any other questions for Mabel? Yeah, Rose.
Okay, nice presentation, by the way. I just want to ask, since it's a wellness app for women, are you like consulting with psychologists as well, or can the app detect if the conversation is leading towards maybe like suicidal thoughts or something like that?
Okay, this is a very, very good question, and this is something that I realize like really matters a lot to me as well. I don't know if you can't really, okay, I'm so bad at this, but okay, if you take a look at this, right, previously, this system is actually not vibe coded. I actually had an engineering team built for me, and I took it over after like about 3 months ago, I would say. And then I went full time into this building this 2 months ago. And I realized like before this, we had an orchestration layer that was more like a B2B automation pipeline, but it doesn't work very well for women who need like emotional support, right? And like you said, I think emotional distress is something that is most evidently in the women who come to us who need companionship. So that was something I was very focused on, which is why I designed a behavioral cascade that sits before this entire orchestration layer where they route it to specific agents. So what this means is the number one thing they check, P0, first priority is safety. So if you have any distress signal, so we even do sentiment analysis in terms of like distress to what level. 0.3 to 0.6 is one level of distress, maybe mild distress. And if you are severe distress, 0.8 to 0.8 to 1, then we will pause everything and then we will guide you towards trying to de-escalate. But we are not medical professionals because it's a wellness companion. So what I actually do is to route to the necessary resources, which is how actual like if you look at ChatGPT, that's how they are doing it, and they are all clarifying that, you know, it's good if you speak to someone professional because this is not meant to be like mental health support. That's why I want to keep it firmly in the wellness companionship lane. And then after that, only if, let's say it's very interesting because you're building this like emotional AI system. It's actually a lot more complicated because what if you say, I want to die, my homework is so hard, which is what Michelle was testing these types of conversations out before we roll out. We have a staging environment. We do multiple types of testings of different types of conversations that our ideal users would have. And then we will set up the guardrails necessary to capture all these gaps before we roll it out. So we want to ensure that it's able to preempt all these issues before it happens. So what happens is when we detect these issues, safety issues, we stop the narrative progression. No more gamification, no more coaching, because it's focused on de-escalation. Yeah, and then we only move on to the other paths when we know that they are actually of sound mind. Yeah, and then in terms of consulting with experts, so I'm actually like a women's health coach, and also like I'm certified more in the physical physical training component, but actually previously I was also in teaching, and I had to work a lot with different students, and it also taught me a lot about how to manage like maybe people. Actually, it's usually if they're in distress, like you'll learn some techniques that are actually very helpful for me to encode it into my system. So I'm not saying that this is our wellness, like it's a wellness companion, so I clearly do not want it to be mental health related, so I am very cautious about that, but that's a very good question. Yeah, so safety is built in from day one for my product.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So the way users interact with the bot is that it detects the bot, right? Is
Ooh, every time people say bot, I get so like,
Oh,
no,
so-
it's a
oh,
companion.
your companion.
Okay,
Sorry.
yes,
Yeah.
it's a companion.
But then, isn't it a lot of emotions cannot be captured in the words? So I can say one thing, but my state of mind can be completely different, right?
Exactly,
Right.
which is a very good point. So it's not just that current word itself. What we do is we detect all the intent and the signals around every single like session. So we have to detect your state of mind, the actual words. Then we have an LLM actually do the reasoning to think. For example, you say something like, "I'm really stressed today. I want to kill myself because the homework is really hard." But then, are you literally going to kill yourself? I cannot. The LLM, if they capture you as literally going to kill yourself, they're going to trigger the safety. But it's not how it works, because if we have a memory of the session, we know that you're facing an exam period. This is stored in the memory, right? We know that you're currently stressed because you have a lot of homework that you're doing. I give these examples because my contributor is actually in uni. So then what happens is we have a more composite photo of like an image of what your current state is before we propose like the next most like aligned kind of answer. Yeah, so it's not just the actual word at the current point in time. So it's not a wrapper per se as well, because we do a lot of like routing on the back end. It's a whole orchestration layer. Our base model is actually Gemini. Yeah, but then we have a land graph orchestration like system, and we have different agents for the routing. So on top of the behavioral cascade that I mentioned just now. Yeah, so sometimes the latency is a bit slow, which is honestly is like something that I'm trying to work on. But they say he feels real because he's typing. They can see him typing, so they're like, it's okay, he's fine.
Okay, but each and every human being is different in their own unique way. So how does your companion cater to every human being?
Good question, which is the memory architecture, right? Remember when I mentioned the memory architecture? So we have very clear ideas of user profile and preferences. We store them in Supabase. That is like my storage system for like all the metadata of like my users, like behavioral patterns, right? So for example, if we know that through a few conversations, I know that your preference is that you love to do, maybe you love to do sports, a specific kind of sport. So he will then use this to reach out 2 days later. Hey, like, have you started on the activity? Or someone's preparing for a project. He'll use all these specific preferences based on the conversation data. So how do we make sure that it's purely catered? We need to go through like a specific onboarding flow. We have an onboarding where we're going to get specific data from them, but in a very non-intrusive way. So it makes it feel like you're talking to a real person. And because I was coaching real women for so many years, I kind of know how it's meant to be. So I'm actually encoding the way that I speak and I think and intuit about how a conversation should go. I actually teach the AI how to do this. And then we also have like retrieval and relevance ranking. We do residency and confidence scoring. So for example, we will ask the AI to say, how confident are you that the woman is in distress? And then he will rate his own kind of reasoning. And actually, I have been looking through some research papers to think about how I can then add another LM as a judge to see whether or not his accuracy of judgment is actually sound. You see, so like it's not like a single LM doing one job. It's like you have to build the entire orchestration system, build memory systems, architect everything so that it feels like the surface is just a simple conversation where I'm asking about like meals. Maybe like, hey, what's the macros? And then he's able to, oh, by the way, he can do like macros analysis as well. Then after that, he will not shove it in your face. He will just say, oh, maybe you have been feeling a bit guilty about meals. Maybe I should promote her eating a bit more healthier, like high fiber or protein, etc. Yeah, so it's a consolidation of all the data signals that we have of a user to create the next flow in the conversation that feels very seamless. Yeah, so that's how we detect the preferences.
Okay, then you also say about the...
Sorry, Matthew, we're going to cut you off there.
You can speak to me afterwards.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interest in Mabel's product, which is great. So she'll be here for 12 weeks. We will continue to hear about her build over the next 12 weeks. So thank you, Mabel. Xavier, okay, next up I'll get Xavier, who's traveled long and far to be with us. Thank you, Xavier.
So in the meantime, I just talk a bit about myself. So basically, I graduated university and then I traveled for a bit. Then I was like, what do I do? I studied chemistry. I don't really want to do chemistry. So then I really liked AI. I went to San Francisco, and in San Francisco, I just met like amazing people, and I was just constantly building and building and building, and just like the craziest idea you can imagine, I was literally building it. But then, obviously, like the crazier the idea, the more likely it is to fail. And not just that, by when I was in San Francisco, it was by the time GPT 4.0 came out, and by that time, these AI companies didn't really have a lot of features. But then obviously came out the features, and with every new feature that came, like a bunch of startups got killed. And during that phase is like were my ideas as well. So then I left San Francisco, and I was like, okay, instead of building crazy ideas, I want to stick to the tried and true. Right now, the value of AI is mostly in the chatbot space. So right now, I started my own company doing social media management and building AI chatbots. And so far, I've been mostly on the social media side. And then I started my super recently the chatbot space and just figuring out like different architectures. Because I don't know if you know, but chatbots have so many different architectures. They can use RAG, they can use Obsidian, which you use. They can be agentic, they can be non-agentic. It's a lot. And right now, I've been playing with an N8N, and I made like a whole agentic RAG workflow. But then I discovered it doesn't really, it works, it's just not 100% of the times. And if I'm giving agency company to customers, I cannot just be giving out prices and be like, oh no, sorry, it's not available, it's not that price anymore. Right? So I wasn't really satisfied with how the workflow was going. And then I tried DeepSeek. One second. I need to share my screen. So anyways, and then DeepSeek came out, and DeepSeek Flash before. I don't know if you guys have used it. Have any guys used the new DeepSeek model? So basically, one of the newest features of this model is that it has 1 million token context window, and it's really, really efficient at using 1 million tokens. Okay? So basically, I gave the whole agency information to DeepSeek Flash before, and it performed way better than any architecture in RAG. Yes, its cost did increase, but its performance like 3 times X. The hallucinations dropped by a lot, and that's basically what I'm exploring right now, just using these DeepSeek before to just replace the chatbot RAG agentic and just use DeepSeek before Flash as a chatbot. So yeah, I meant to share like a QR code, but it's yeah. I feel like I can just share it on my computer instead. Sorry? It's for the chatbot. Oh. Yeah. So if you guys can scan this, you'll be able to see the performance of my chatbots. So my company right now is in Puerto Rico, which is Spanish, but I feel like if you prompt it reply in English, it should be able to work. Yeah. So far we're piloting with, does it work? No? I don't, am I in the chat?
Yeah, you sign into Zoom, right? Where's your Zoom? In the calendar invite. Do you have like the chatbot itself to show, or your backend to show?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, what do you do?
I mean, just open the QR code basically. There we go. So there is a QR code, so you can scan it better.
Do you want to show your chatbot on screen?
So I'll give you 10 seconds and then I'll remove it. Okay. Okay, so this is what you guys should be looking at. And basically it's for a travel agency company. So you can ask any, like right now it's in Spanish, it says, hey, I'm the AI assistant. How can I help you? And then you can ask like, hey, do you have any trips to Europe? And then it will literally search through the 500,000 token window that I fed into it, and it will extract just the ones from Europe. And these trip packages are not labeled Europe. They're literally labeled like Venice, Italy, Spain, and it's able to recognize that these countries are from Europe. And then it will respond with exactly the trips to Europe, at least way better than it did when I was using Agentic RAG. And as a reference, I'll show you the workflow I did for NN8. So this is the one I did earlier. As you can see, it has a lot of nodes, a lot of verifications. It took a long time. The performance wasn't as good as I wanted to. And then the new workflow is literally this. It's just a DeepSeek v4 Flash call. And it functions like amazingly. And if you see like the context window, it's just huge, just 500,000 tokens. So yeah, that's me. Any questions?
Hi, I have a question. So this thing is specifically for helping you plan your vacation, your traveling, and all that stuff, right?
It's a chatbot for a travel agency. So I don't do the fulfillment. I just do like the...
Oh, so it's not for people like me. It's for the agency to use for their customers.
Exactly, yeah. It's like the chatbot I'm proposing to the travel agencies. Yeah.
Then why can't people use something like trip.com, because they have their own AI, right? There you can plan your entire destination, hotels, flights, so on and so forth, along with this chatbot thing.
Yeah, good question. So like the type of clients that usually go to travel agencies are not the type of clients who use that kind of chatbots. They're mostly people who are in groups, need heavy coordination, older people, do not use the internet, do not use AI.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So then if they could use like through WhatsApp, for example, and they wanted to search through maybe 3-5 travel agencies, then actually not 3-5 agencies, just sort of like if the travel agency has just hundreds of trip packages offerings, then this can help them discover exactly the trip packages that they want, that they offer. Does that make sense?
Okay. Any other questions? Cool. Thank you, Xavier.
Thank you.
Adib, are you ready? Okay, next up we have Adib. So Adib is one of those who've signed up via the Luma link to come here to do a demo.
Hello, so I'm Adib. I don't know, is this very random for me to be here, but I saw the link. I thought like, oh, might as well just sign up since I'm like just opposite. So anyway, like for context, I'm from Seni Bena, so we build like software for architects and engineering and construction firms. So like for context, I think I say context a lot because I already keep saying context. So like usually the process for a lot of compliance checking during design takes like extremely long. So it goes from weeks to months. So like recently, like at a hackathon, like I think like in March, like there was an opportunity to just like test and build something fun lah. The name was called Please Pass. So apparently it just like helped to augment the process of getting your designs compliant, which is the hardest part. So like if you imagine in an architecture firm, let's say you have like 50 people, you can say like 60% of the entire firm is only doing compliance, and actually only 2 people are doing design, and everybody else has admin roles. And that means it's kind of sad because everybody signed up to do design, but everybody ended up doing compliance checking, which is extremely manual and extremely boring, and like it takes so much time. And that was also one of the reasons why we have like the worst, what do you call that? Worst burnout rate. So like technically every year, only 3% of people actually stay in the industry because like the majority of the time was taken away from doing compliance checking. So anyway, fast forward. So this solution is called Please Pass. Right now, I'm still working with like a few vendors to figure out which is the best orchestration model. But so far, it's been Gemini. But of course, Google has like their own infrastructure, so it's extremely fast. So for context, let's say, I say context again. So let's say usually the process, if I was a designer trying to review my drawings, assuming it's like a 30-story building and like extremely large, you go through like each of this piece and then look at this, and then you open like your, oh my God, you open like your compliance code and then you check against that. So, and that process means like you need a team lead who will separate the tasks. And the problem with this is that the design also moves at the same time. So by the time the compliance designers actually are done with that work, the design has shifted. So it's pretty much like abortive work all the time. So right now, it works to replace the entire task. So like from weeks, we go to like seconds instead. And it like just marks up everything on the model itself. So let's say designers can already resolve. It's quite a bad model, so sorry. Yeah. So for example, things like this will appear. So like, oh, like that means like we figured out like we placed like a wrong door size. So like for example, SCDF has like the specific codes, and then the building code authority has their own like regulations also. And then also on the other side, like each firm has their own standards altogether. And all of this like kind of bottlenecks and like it fits each other. So like the upstream doesn't really know what's happening on the downstream. They just say like, hey, can you get this done like by tomorrow? But it's kind of impossible because like everybody's working on a different part of the model at the same time. So yeah, it's just that. So like the good thing about this is that definitely by being able to already mark out, we technically can be more ecological. Like say we don't have to print out PDFs anymore. We have this like weird habit of like printing out like AO size drawings like for every like drawing set, that sort of thing lah. So for example, this one you can just print out and just change like your, I can't really see the screen, sorry. I just whack. And then like when you rerun, then you all be resolved all over again. So like this fits into like the whole, so Singapore is currently moving by October into this, not weird lah. It's supposed to be a more efficient manner of like designing buildings so that everything must be digitalized by October. But that means like only like 20 firms right now are digitalized. And the majority, we have like 400 firms. So like 300 plus are still in the manual domain. And they are not really exempted. I think like they are kind of detached from being able to compete in the same market altogether again. So like, out of business. So like this solution was supposed to be a solution to get everybody onboarded and get everybody to come back to like the core of architecture, which is just design like in general. So for this project, it started as a running joke, but like I guess like adoption came, and the hardest part right now is trying to work with the 7 different agencies in Singapore. But then also like Autodesk also has the same issues with like this software. So the funny thing is that in Singapore, Autodesk is like the main software vendor for anything that the government mandates. But at the same time, they have their own KPIs lah, and it's always about design. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Adib. Any questions?
Sorry, hi, Adib. So curious.
Ooh.
So this is 2D models, right? Like, but I'm curious, like, because I guess you were talking about BIM models, which are
Yes.
typically 3D, right?
Yeah, it's 3D models actually. So like,
Okay.
I say. Let me share back my screen. How you guys share? Share. Yeah, correct. So it's actually 3D models, but so that's the funny bit. So that's why like we are, I think as an industry, they are moving to this digitalization. So you can actually review the 3D model from every agency. But like on site and even during like client coordination, sadly it's still like the 2D domain. And that takes more time than doing like the 3D model. So like, there's always this joke, it's like you can design all you want, you make really nice 3D geometry, but the hardest part is rationalizing it to be in 2D, so you can hand it off to a construction firm to actually build like whatever you want. And that itself, like compliance is one thing, but then the nitty gritty, all the chichi chacha, I think that's the hardest part about everything. And for some reason, that is still being delivered as a 2D model.
Got it. So you're saying that even if you have an accurate BIM model, translating that into a good 2D floor plan that has proper specs for construction crews is hard.
Yeah, correct. So like I think that's like the whole idea about this October mandate. It's called Connect X. The idea is that once you reach past this stage, in theory you can design better, but sadly, boom, it's like the bottleneck becomes like everybody cannot participate in the ecosystem already because you can't even reach this stage of being to first comply with government mandates, which is kind of sad. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Adib. Okay, we have our last presenters for today. It will be Phil and Joe from Airfoil. Oh, just Phil, okay.
There we go. Yep, okay, it's moving. A little laggy, but this is such an awesome event. I'm really happy to be here and very grateful to the team here at Carousell and AICA for having me. In short, I'm going to give a very distilled version of something that I'll be elaborating a little bit more on at AI Engineer on Saturday. We're talking a little bit about 3 ways that we use AI actively at Airfoil. So I'm one of the co-founders at Airfoil. We're basically a product design and brand firm that work with a lot of different tech companies. We've been doing this now for 6 years, and for the last 2 years, we've had a team internally at the company specifically to prototype ways to use AI in our process. I want to start with this, which is, what does it mean when something is actually well designed? There are now so many different AI tools people can use to one-shot things, to create landing pages, and a lot of them look a little bit like this. And they kind of get called like AI slop. But what really makes that slop isn't just bad visual decisions. It's when you take visual style, copywriting, layout, and brand decisions without the context of the user, of what will resonate with them, of their own psychology. That's when you end up with kind of mid-output that says nothing. Don Norman put it as, design is an act of communication. And as designers, the most important thing for us is how can we better understand our users? The human side of the process isn't, I think, as much production as it is pre-production, gathering the requisite context to be able to use models to create really great things. So in a practical sense, we use AI currently in 3 ways, or these are kind of 3 internal tools that we've worked on. One of them is called Check, the AI visual QA engineer. One is called Scoop, the AI creative strategist, and one is called Meld, the creative direction engine. Check, very simply, is a tool that we built where you can put in a URL and a Figma link, and then we use Qwen to compare live implementation against the original design. We've also done some work behind the scenes, not just to compare the actual implemented version of a site to the version in Figma, but also then to begin doing severity grading so we can identify the most important differences to fix. We started doing this so that we could prioritize work for our engineers. We're now using this to feed better context and feedback back into agents to make sites effectively improve themselves. So this is a view of like what the live app looks like. We're using this in production every day at Airfoil. Second, there's a product that product is a bit, I don't even know it's a product anymore. We call it Scoop. Basically, clients never give us all the context we want to ideally have. And so we built an agent in-house that takes the client brief that comes in and turns it into a project brief that is substantially longer. That project brief includes segments where we basically go and scrape all of their competitors' websites, summarize all of the kind of narrative strategies of every competing company they're up against, and then compiles for our designers before we even begin the project possible directions they might be able to go in or should explore. We basically pre-write a lot of the questions that they should be going and asking the client to gather more information. We're getting through the initial 2 weeks of discovery in a project basically in the first 2 days. So this is very simple. It's just a skill in Manus, but it really can run on basically any LLM as long as it's got decent kind of browser use. And these are just some screenshots of an actually generated thing. But the final thing, and what we've been really spending the last 2 months just like working on a lot, is something called Meld. At the beginning, I said that it's really important the process of pre-production, not just production. So in short, Meld is a place where designers can save what inspires them and why. They can then recall their inspiration and their thinking instantly by interacting with an agent, and they can tap into their teammates and community's thinking instantly. So here's how it basically works. From your phone or from your computer using a Chrome extension, you can take something, for example, this is Pizza 4Ps, which I love every time I go to Vietnam. It has a beautiful brand design. I love it so much, I want to save it somewhere. So I can open up the share sheet. Meld automatically begins to extract metadata about it, key colors, descriptions, etc., and I can add it to what's called my backpack. Once it's there on my computer, I can go annotate it. I can actually select the things I like about it, and I can explain why I like about it, so I can access that information later. This is what the backpack view looks like. This is from Joseph, one of our designers. So you can see all the stuff that's being saved onto the screen. But what's really cool is then you can interact with an agent and instantly recall. Because it has the context as to why you wanted to save the item, it knows how to recommend things when you want to recall them later on. You can also then ask it lots of questions, like, how has my taste shifted over the last 3 months? It has the right information, legible enough to the LLM to be able to provide intelligent answers. We're also building a tool right now, it's not fully done, but basically can assemble mood boards based on your taste and preferences. So there's this conversation about like taste and design. Is taste the things that humans will own? And our view is that you should be able to codify that taste and continually improve it when you're in the process. Finally, the last thing I'll mention is we have commenting and the ability to share those with other people, which further develops our understanding of your taste and theirs. And what's really cool at the end of all of this is you can just basically talk to the agent. It can surface things from across your entire organization or team. So it's sort of like if you could tap all of your teammates on the shoulder at any point in time without even having to bug them to get their feedback or get their ideas or further inspiration. Working on a lot more features, but Meld is now a much bigger initiative at Airfoil. And yeah, that's how we use AI. Sorry
Any
for going
questions?
over a little bit.
So I love the agents, especially the scoop agent. I feel like that context generating is like super important to make a really good AI like outcome. So it sounds good in theory, but like how is it in practice? What do your clients say? Is it actually like are clients finding like a lot of value in it?
In agents in general or in these products?
The scoop agent in specific.
Yes.
Like is your company finding a lot of value of it?
I think it's been really, really valuable. And I say that for a few reasons. The first reason is that I think oftentimes in the course of a design project, people don't always spend enough time doing the background research, right? If there's someone who's written a comment or a review on a product online, we should know about it. And we should know, like, is it positive, is it negative, why is it positive, why is it negative? That's stuff that's difficult to do by hand because, especially for a product that's been live for a long time, it's difficult to have eyes and ears everywhere. So that's where I think having agents that can go scrape that data and summarize it back gets really helpful. It also helps us standardize our process. We're a team now of about 40 people. And so we got a lot of people with their own different approaches to kicking off design projects. Codifying that as a specific skill also helps us, honestly, with quality assurance. It's like, how do we make sure that every time we kick off a project, we've always asked the same set of questions about each product that we work on so that we know that really thorough. I also think about it this way. If I'm preparing a talk as well, I think about that. I immediately go and prompt AI to I use Manus a lot, but other tools as well to generate like kind of a set of bullet points of what the talk could be. Not because I want to say any of those things, it's because those are the obvious points. That's what I don't want to say. So I think that when we have agents go out and suggest a bunch of different creative directions, we don't use those directions per se, but we say, okay, this is table stakes. This is what any designer could come up with. How can we push it further? We use that as a good foundation. The clients don't really care about the brief. For our side, though, it's helpful so that I can make sure that my team is as prepared as they need to be.
Yeah. So maybe to like clarify my question, like, how much better is this than like the alternative, the non-AI alternative?
I think it's something that we could definitely do by hand on every project, but realistically, when you start rolling processes like that out across an entire organization, it is the place where I've seen people skip steps the most, and just across like the time we've worked. And so like what I like about this is more the dependability and reliability of it, of like we create the workflow once, and then it runs very predictably every time. And also it's not the work that the designers love doing. And so that's I think why like I see people sometimes cut corners on research, and you know, to know that we're never doing that is like, that's something that's quite helpful for us, I think. Thank you.
All right, yeah. Are you going to be around after this session for a little bit? Yeah, so I'm going to call an end to it because interest of time, we do have another event later. So if anyone has more questions for Phil, please hang around and ask him. So I want to say thank you for coming to this event. Just two announcements. One is that we have an event at 6 p.m. It's our Agentic AI at Work event. So you're all very free to hang around and attend that, even if you haven't signed up on Luma. And the other is that if you're interested in our AI residency program, please let me know. Very happy to have more residents in our midst. All right, so with that, I'll say thank you. Okay, thanks everyone.